I am joined by the Democrat who is running in the 62nd State Senate District. Actually, this race changed significantly in July when the longtime GOP incumbent Senator George Maziarz abruptly announced that he would not be seeking re-election because we believe of a fundraising investigation that has been being conducted by the U.S. Attorney. Changed things dramatically for my guest, Johnny Destino. He is the Democrat who is running. And welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
So you actually, I don't think were terribly surprised. I mean, when you announced your candidacy, had sort of made allusions that the senator was going to need his money for legal bills after the fact, but you weren't tipped off.
No, we weren't tipped off. But if you've been following Niagara County politics, you cannot exert that level of control at the local level without breaking some rules. We've seen in the past, the Independence Party, the local independents, and conservative parties would send out full-color glossy mailers attacking candidates, never having a fundraiser, never having any organized activities except for these attack ads. So we always suspected there was something there. Because
of the power of somebody who was there for almost 20 years, we're talking
about.
Yeah. So how have things changed then? I mean, without George Maziarz, you really have a wide open field. You've got a Republican candidate, the North Tonawanda mayor, Robert Ort. Last I checked, 32-day pre-primary filing, you had about the same amount of money, which was not a lot. He had about $6,200. You had
we have our first fundraisers coming up August 27th, so we expect a huge turnout. And we have a lot of local labor support as well. So we have the ground troops, and that'll save us a lot of money in the end too.
So have you seen an increased interest then in your candidacy?
Yes, we have. Typically, Senator Maziarz had a lot of union support. I've recently received the UAW endorsement, local laborers 91, the IBEW 237, so everyone's on board this time, and with the district being plus 5,000 Democratic, it's going to be a really good opportunity for us.
It's going to be a turnout game then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, I have a 2-year head start on the other opponents. The two Republicans have just gotten to the race. The mayor of North Tonawanda just in the last couple of weeks.
He was actually surprised when his name got floated, if I remember correctly. Okay, so you actually, when we talk about your 2-year head start, you ran in 2011, I believe. 2012 for Senate.
Yes.
But then subsequently, prior to that, you would run for the mayor of Niagara Falls.
In 2011.
In 2011.
Now, after law school, I started to get engaged politically, and I wasn't happy with the direction that Niagara Falls was going. I had moved back when the Senecas in New York State entered into the gaming compact, and I thought, finally, Niagara Falls is getting the attention it needs. We've got a major private investment development project, and I worked for them for 5 years. I opened up all 3 of their properties across Western New York, and I looked around the city, and almost nothing was occurring. So I got involved. I was a Republican at the time. I ran for mayor. I thought, maybe the mayor's been the problem.
Yeah.
And when you learn that he's fighting a lot of these fights with his hands tied behind his back from Albany, you realize where the real problem was.
So you came close, actually.
Yes, but just over 600 votes short.
So you're not running for mayor. I mean, there has been some speculation in the local press that you're trying to raise your name recognition for another crack at the mayor of Niagara Falls.
No, that's absolutely not in my plans. I recognize what the problem was in Western New York, and he's actually retiring this year, so we've got a great opportunity to help out the local economy. Jobs is the #1 issue, and that will bring people home. That will, so often, the Republican solution is to cut services, and we can't keep cutting. Every time you attrit a job, and that's another family out of work.
Is that why you left the party?
I left the party. I'm pro-labor. I left the party because of the corruption. I wasn't going to fall in line. I wasn't going to take orders. You should be able to have these disagreements and not be exiled. When I got onto the Niagara Falls School Board, I was like, all right, look, we need to do things the proper and right way. I challenged the hiring of our attorney's daughter to a position that she didn't meet the job requirements for. As the time said, we need to amend the job description so that her qualifications conform with it. And I asked for help at the state level. It took over 2.5 years for state education to respond, and I got zero assistance.
But that's the exact argument they're going to use against you, right? Because you are a member of the school board, and your wife, you voted yes on a job for your wife, who it's a lower level job.
Correct. She's a college graduate with 15 years of work experience, some as a paralegal and executive assistant, and she applied for an entry-level secretary position. So.
Yeah, but you're expecting, I mean, this is a seat that the Republicans very much want to keep. So you're expecting a full-fledged effort, I'm sure.
I think so, but again, I think the excitement, and we've seen a trend in Niagara County. We had the retirement or the resignation of Michael Tucker, the Republican mayor of Lockport. Steve Richards in the town of Niagara finally took a plea deal and is, I think, currently on probation for misuse of public funds. The former Republican supervisor of the town of Lewiston is under investigation. Niagara County is sick of this. They can't. We had 2 more resignations in the town of Lewiston, councilmen.
Yeah.
So I think they're tired of what's been going on, and there's a groundswell of support in our direction.
Yeah, understood. I mean, corruption obviously a big problem in Albany as well.
Yes.
I mean, what is your feeling? Are you concerned as a Democrat with what's happening with the Moreland Commission and the governor?
I think, again, it seemed like the Moreland Commission was doing a fine job of investigating and actually going after where the problems were. So he should have perhaps let it go, but he said he claims from the outset that he wanted the ethics deal, and once he got it, he wrapped it up. But I'm glad to see that the U.S. Attorney's Office is following through on it.
You are?
Yes.
Do you believe the governor when he says he wasn't interfering and he was allowing that commission to be independent?
I believe it.
You do?
Yeah. Again, he was the former state attorney general's office. Attorney general. I don't believe that he's going to run afoul of any of the laws.
The Senate Democrats are interested in your campaign.
Very much.
So they're supporting you. I mean, it's interesting also, I mean, on social issues as a former Republican, do you consider yourself conservative on those issues? Abortion rights, gun rights?
Western New York is more conservative generally. Yeah. I'm more in line with the constituents here. Again, with the SAFE Act, I wouldn't have rushed through with the message of necessity. I think Andrea Stewart-Cousins called out the Republicans for the hypocrisy on that. You had the ability to slow it down, put the brakes on it, and fix some of the problems that.
Well, it was the governor who really wanted it, though. I mean, just to be fair, it's interesting. It'll put you, if you're successful, though, in an interesting position because you have a fear, particularly among the upstate Republicans, that this newfound relationship between the IDC or new-old relationship between the IDC and the downstate Democrats is going to leave New York City in control.
That's been the early attack on my candidacy: is we don't need to shift the power to the downstate Democrats.
Right.
Well, I asked people in Western New York. The Republicans have been in control of the Senate for 40+ years. That's hasn't done very well for us. So I'm going to represent my constituents in Western New York. And again, if there is such a slim majority in the Senate, then it'll be all that much more powerful to direct the much-needed attention to Western New York.
Well, it's a fascinating race. We're keeping an eye on it. All of a sudden, it's developed out of nowhere. Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
Johnny
you
Destino.
so much.
I appreciate it.
Watch Capital Tonight, weeknights at 8 and 11:30 p.m. Want to be part of the discussion? Head to our State of Politics blog, nystateofpolitics.com.